rat with wings. You have heard it. You have probably said it. Maybe not out loud, but somewhere in the back of your mind when a pigeon shuffles too close to your lunch or lands on the pavement in front of you, the phrase appears automatically. Rat with wings. Dirty, diseased, worthless, a pest that happens to fly. It is one of the most repeated descriptions of any animal on Earth. City mayors have used it. Newspaper columnists have used it. Public health officials have used it. Millions of ordinary people absorbed it from the world around them and never once thought to question it. Here is what nobody tells you. It came from a movie. In 1980, Woody Allen's film Stardust Memories featured a character who glanced at a pigeon and muttered the phrase "rat with wings." It was a throwaway line, a joke, something written to get a laugh from a cinema audience and then forgotten. It was never forgotten. Within a decade, that single line had migrated from a film script into everyday conversation. By the 90s, it was appearing in newspapers. By the 2000s, city councils were using it in debates about urban wildlife management. Today, it is so completely embedded in the way people think about pigeons that most people who use the phrase have no idea it began as a punchline. Think about that. The most widely believed thing about the most common bird in your city originated as a joke, written for a comedian, never intended to be taken seriously, and almost everything it implies is scientifically wrong. Welcome to City Bird Mind. Subscribe before you leave, because what you are about to hear about the animal you have been dismissing your entire life will make you question assumptions you have held for years. Stay until the end, because the last thing we cover involves this bird doing something that most humans have never done and never will. Number 1, the disease myth, and why almost none of it is true. Here is what the rat with wings phrase really implies: that pigeons, like rats, are carriers of disease, that they are dangerous, that sharing a space with them puts you at risk. Here is what the science actually found. A comprehensive review of pigeon-associated disease risk, examining decades of data from urban environments across multiple countries, reached a conclusion that would surprise almost everyone who has ever used that phrase. The risk of disease transmission from healthy urban pigeon populations to healthy adult humans is, in the words of the researchers, low to negligible. Pigeons do carry certain organisms capable of causing illness. But the conditions required for those organisms to actually reach a human being and cause harm are highly specific. You would need prolonged, repeated, direct exposure to large quantities of pigeon droppings, typically in enclosed spaces with poor ventilation, to face any meaningful risk. Walking past them on a pavement does not qualify. Eating lunch near them does not qualify. Having one land briefly near your food does not qualify. Now consider the animal they are being compared to. Rats have been documented carriers of leptospirosis, hantavirus, and the fleas that transmitted bubonic plague, a disease that killed approximately 1/3 of Europe's entire population in the 14th century. The comparison between pigeons and rats is not just unfair, it is scientifically incoherent. The phrase "rat with wings" does not describe a biological reality. It describes a cultural attitude, one built on a comedian's observation, repeated without scrutiny for 40 years until it became common knowledge. But here is the strange part. Even if every claim about disease were true, it still wouldn't prepare you for what this bird actually is. Number 2, the intelligence of the animal you just called a rat. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You look at your reflection. Somewhere in your brain, without conscious effort, you understand, that is me. That face belongs to me. Now imagine scientists discovering that the bird you walk past every morning can do the same thing. For most of human history, self-recognition in a mirror was considered a uniquely human trait. Then it was found in great apes, then dolphins, then elephants. Then, in a laboratory in Japan, researchers placed a pigeon in front of a mirror, and the pigeon passed. The list of species that have ever demonstrated mirror self-recognition is extraordinarily short. Chimpanzees, bonobos, orangutans, gorillas, dolphins, orcas, elephants, magpies, and pigeons. Fewer than 10 species on Earth have cleared that bar. Your dog has not. Your cat has not. But that wasn't even the most surprising part. At one American university, pigeons were given a working memory task, the kind of test designed to measure higher cognitive function, hold information, maintain it across a time delay, respond correctly. Then, researchers ran the same task with human participants. The pigeons outperformed the humans, not some humans. Humans as a group. And somewhere else, pigeons were shown paintings by Monet and Picasso. Once they had learned to distinguish between the two artists, they were shown entirely new works, paintings they had never encountered before, and asked to classify them. They got it right. They were not memorizing specific images. They were understanding artistic style as a category, something that requires a form of abstract thinking most people would never associate with the bird pecking at crumbs outside a cafe. The animal you have been calling a rat with wings has cleared cognitive benchmarks that the scientific community uses to identify higher intelligence. It has done things in controlled experiments that most species on Earth, including most mammals, simply cannot do. Now it gets even more unbelievable. Number 3. What the rat with wings did while men were dying in the mud. Picture the Argonne Forest, northern France, October the 3rd, 1918. 554 American soldiers have pushed too far forward. They are surrounded. German forces on 3 sides, and somewhere behind them, their own American artillery, not knowing the battalion's position, has changed, has started shelling them. They are being killed by their own side. They have 3 carrier pigeons, 3 chances to get a message back to headquarters and stop what is happening. The first pigeon is released into the air above the tree line. It is shot down. The second pigeon is released, shot down. 1 bird left. His name was Cher Ami, French for dear friend. He carried a message that read, "We are along the road parallel to 276.4. Our own artillery is dropping a barrage directly on us. For heaven's sake, stop it." He was shot through the breast the moment he cleared the trees. 1 eye destroyed, 1 leg nearly completely severed, hanging by a single tendon. The message capsule was attached to that leg. He kept flying 25 miles, 25 minutes. He arrived at the loft. He delivered the message. The shelling stopped. 194 soldiers walked out of that forest because of what Cher Ami did. France awarded him the Croix de Guerre, the nation's highest military decoration, for battlefield heroism. The soldiers of the Lost Battalion cared for him personally until he died the following year. His body has been on display at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., for over 100 years. The next time someone uses the phrase rat with wings, you can tell them that a rat with wings once flew through enemy fire with 1 leg hanging off its body to save nearly 200 human lives, and then ask them what they have done with their mourning. But the war was not even the beginning of this story. Number 4. The rat with wings that helped build the world you live in. Julius Reuter did not start his news empire with telegraph wires. He started it with pigeons. In the 1850s, his pigeon post between Brussels and Aachen delivered financial intelligence faster than any government communication system available. The speed advantage those birds gave him over every competitor he had was the foundation on which the Reuters news agency was built. One of the largest, most influential media organizations in the world today, built on the backs of the animal you dismiss without looking at it. The Rothschild banking dynasty maintained a private pigeon network that allowed them to receive market-moving information faster than governments, faster than rivals, faster than anyone operating in European financial markets at the time. The information edge those birds provided contributed to one of the greatest concentrations of financial power in the 19th century. Genghis Khan built the largest contiguous land empire in human history. He coordinated armies spread across thousands of miles of Central Asian steppe using relay pigeon stations, a communication network that moved at speeds his enemies could not match and could not understand. The Roman Empire, the Persian Empire, the Mughal Empire, all of them at critical moments of their power depended on this bird. For 5,000 years, the pigeon was the fastest information delivery system on Earth, not occasionally, consistently, reliably. For 5,000 years, the most powerful people and institutions in the world trusted this animal with their most important communications. And then the telegraph arrived, and then the telephone. And within 2 generations, everything the pigeon had done for human civilization was forgotten. We stopped needing them, we stopped seeing them, we stopped remembering. And into that forgetting, a comedian made a joke, and the joke became the truth. Nothing about the bird changed. Only our memory did. Number 5. What science is currently saying about the animal you have been walking past. The pigeon is the most studied bird in the history of scientific research. That is not a casual observation. The volume of peer-reviewed work on pigeon cognition, navigation, physiology, and behavior exceeds that of almost any other bird species on Earth. Scientists keep studying pigeons because pigeons keep surprising them. The navigation system alone has consumed decades of dedicated research at some of the world's leading institutions. What they found is not one system, it is 4, running simultaneously. Magnetite crystals in the beak that function as a biological compass, detecting the Earth's magnetic field with a precision that no human instrument could replicate at the time of their discovery. A sun compass that tracks the position of the sun across the sky and compensates for its movement using an internal clock accurate to within minutes. Infrasound detection, the ability to hear frequencies so far below human hearing that we have no direct experience of them, allowing pigeons to detect approaching storm systems hours before they arrive, and to hear the acoustic signature of their home location from hundreds of kilometers away. And a 4th system, still debated, still being studied, something involving the specific olfactory signature of a home location, carried on wind currents that allows pigeons to orient even when every other system is deliberately blocked. Remove one system. The pigeon compensates with the others. It is not navigating. It is running 4 independent navigation programs simultaneously, cross-referencing them in real time, correcting for errors, adjusting for variables, and flying home. The most sophisticated GPS technology humans have ever built replicates, imperfectly, what this bird does naturally. Every single time. Rat with wings. A joke, written for a film, spoken by a comedian in 1980, repeated for 40 years until it became the default way an entire civilization described one of the most remarkable animals ever documented by science. The animal you have been dismissing passed cognitive tests that chimpanzees pass, and your dog cannot. It outperformed humans in memory research at a major university. It flew through enemy fire with one leg hanging off its body to save 194 people. It helped Julius Reuter build a news empire. It helped the Rothschilds build a banking dynasty. It helped Genghis Khan build the largest empire in human history. It has been walking beside human beings, in partnership, for 5,000 years. And it has been on your street corner this entire time, ignored, dismissed, named after a punchline. Now, you know what it actually is. The next time someone calls it a rat with wings, you know exactly what to say. And the next time you walk past one, on your way to work, outside the cafe, on the station platform, you know exactly what you are walking past. Tell me in the comments, did you ever use that phrase and will you ever use it again? I want to hear from you. I read every single